Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Rath here with your episode of the DFS Minute for Thursday, April 16, 2015, here on rotocurve.com. You can hit us up at rotocurve on Twitter, or you can hit me up at Fantasy Rath. Going to go over last night, what happened, and how we did, and then talk about how to approach today. And then I'm going to give you a tip on where it might make sense to play in smaller tournaments, and that's going to equal bigger winnings for you. And I'll give you an example of what happened to me last night. Also, we're going to go over how to approach the qualifiers / satellites on DraftKings, especially on a day like today for a smaller stakes player or a brand new player, how you can use these to get into a larger buy-in tournament where you could possibly build your bankroll and really get moving in daily fantasy baseball. So let's go over last night real quick. Was a positive night. Unfortunately, on a personal side, I did get stuck in the bad weather here in Charlotte. I did not get home till almost 6:30, and that's why the video went up so late. What happened was I really didn't get in a lot of the contests that I wanted to get into. And what I should have done is reserve some entries or put in some placeholders, knowing that the weather is going to be bad and I was going to get stuck. So that's just something that need to be learned. If you know that you're not going to get on until late, but you know you're going to be able to get your lineups in, reserve entries, put in placeholders. What do we mean by that is put in players that is not necessarily your lineup. Just do a real quick, check mark through some, pick the guys that just real quick, go under the salary cap, reserve that entry into that contest, and then when you get home, are you able to do it on your mobile or your computer or whatever, then you're able to put in your real lineup and take advantage. Because what I'm finding happening, this is what happened to me last night, is that a lot of the contests that I wanted to play in ended up being filled, and I didn't get in them early. So I typically like looking at the larger field 50-50 contests that are single entry. So on FanDuel, they run a 550 man. They run a bunch of them. And then they also do some 225 mans. Those are the 50-50s I play in, and I try to get in as many as I can every day. If that doesn't work, then I try to do the 100 mans on the league. But typically I go into tournaments, look for those 50-50s, and that way there I'm guaranteed my action is going to get taken. I can post all the heads ups in the world, but if the action doesn't get taken or it gets taken by pros or sharks, that's not beneficial to me. So that's typically what I'm trying to do on FanDuel. Now over on DraftKings, the great thing about there is you can enter a contest, and then underneath the lineup screen, they have a reserve entry box. And all you need to do is click on the contest that you want to play, hit reserve entry, and it gets you in. Similar situation is look for those larger field 50-50 contests that are single entry, that do not have the little M box next to them, which are multi-entry. So anything that says, using all sorts of different words right now, massive or giant, those are the ones I'm recommending as a beginner player you stay away from. And there's a lot of reasons why that Benny and Josh have gotten into on previous curve shows. You want single entry, not multiple entry. Look for the largest fields of those 50-50s. And what you can do is just click the entry on the top of the screen. It'll sort it by the number of entries from high to low. And then you can just hit select. It'll go ahead, reserve your entry, things like that. Because if you wait until 6:30, there's a good chance you're not going to get in. And it's more beneficial right now, especially as a new player. You want to get in the best contest possible for you to build your bankroll and be able to have success in DFS baseball. So that's my advice as far as getting in early, and then making sure you don't miss out if something happens and you're not able to get to the computer late. Now, if catastrophe happens and you realize that, hey, I'm not going to get my lineups in, I've got entries sitting out there, and I'm going to get stuck. Well, the good thing is you can withdraw as long as it's depending on the contest, and as long as it's early enough where I believe 15 minutes before first pitch is probably about the cutoff. You can go into the contest, you can hit withdraw, and it'll get you out of that lineup. You can also do that on DraftKings. You can do that on FanDuel. So that's something, if you do placeholder or you do reserve entry and you find that you're not going to be able to play, all is not lost. Just go into those contests, hit it up on your mobile or hit it up on your PC, and go into those contests. Now there's no from what I know, there's no way to like cancel all contests. I don't think that they have that feature, and nor would they probably want that feature, because it's more of a detriment to the site than anything else, because you have people entering and deleting, and all that's going to do is tax the server, especially at high traffic times, and it's just not beneficial to the site. So that's my 2 cents on that. As far as last night goes, I'll give you a learning lesson. We did hit on pitchers, but we didn't hit big. We didn't lose, but we kind of broke even on the pitcher, but we nailed the hitters, especially guys like Nelson Cruz and some of the Blue Jays, and then some of the value plays. So it was a good night on the hitting side and able to get in the cash column. And I'll give you an example of something that happened with me. And I think this is a really good learning lesson for new players, but also maybe even guys that have been playing for a while and really are possibly playing in the wrong contests. And what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. So I entered 2 tournaments on DraftKings last night because I was entering stuff at 6:59. Literally, I tried to get the DFS Minute show out first, and then I was scrambling to get into the 10 minutes that I had left to get into whatever I could. So I was able to get into a couple of tournaments. One was a $27 entry on DraftKings. It was a 290-man field. So basically, I came in 7th out of 290, and I cashed 200. So I won about 7 times my money in that contest. Now, I also played in $9,000 $3 entry with about 3,200 people. Okay, and I finished in 77th place. So it was almost the same percentage. I came in 7th out of 290, 77th out of 3,200, with a little bit of a swing. Here's the difference though: $3 entry, and I only won $12. I only won 4 times my money back. So I'll say this: how many of you guys every day are, and I've talked to people, this is why I'm bringing it up, because I keep hearing it over and over and over again from friends of mine, from guys that reach out on Facebook and Twitter, hit us up on email. The biggest mistake that some of the new players are making is this: they're going for the largest prize pool and the cheapest entry fee. The thing you got to realize is your odds of hitting 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th in those contests are very, very small. Here's the lesson that you can learn from is, would you rather win 7 times your money or 4 times your money with the same lineup? I'd rather win 7 times my money. Now, it's a lot easier to play in a contest where it's only 290 guys versus 3,200. If you're playing in a $1, $2, $3, $5 tournament every day and you're not cashing, or you're cashing and you're only winning double or triple your money, what I would tell you is this: stop playing those contests, because all they're doing is draining your bankroll and giving you negative results. Let's say you play 5 days a week and you're putting in $5 a day or $6 a day into tournaments. Why not just save your money, play in one $27 tournament, whether it's Wednesday or I recommend playing on the biggest slate days. So that could be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Friday. Okay. And play in the smaller contest at $27. Play in that 200-man, 100-man, 200, 300-man contest, and then see what your results are. I think you're going to find that your results are going to be more positive than negative. Nothing's more frustrating than jumping into these $100,000 entry contests and you really don't have a chance. Now, there's a place for that in the industry, and people can play that all day long, and I'm not criticizing the people that play them or the sites that put them up. What I'm saying is, for you as a new player that wants to win and wants to build the bankroll, I would advise you to stay away from those contests. Look at single entry tournaments that have less than 500 people that are within your bankroll threshold, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 5, or 10, whatever it happens to be, or even 27. Just depends on your bankroll. Play in the smaller field, single entry tournaments. You're going to find that you're going to cash more often and you're going to have better results. It's all about building up to having a bankroll. You're not going to start off hitting $1,000 in a GPP or $10,000 in a tournament. You're going to need to build, hit 100, hit 200, hit 300. Then all of a sudden your bankroll management shifts. Instead of playing $10 a day, maybe now you can play $30 a day. Maybe now you can start taking more chances in satellites. You can start taking chances on larger entry tournaments, or you can start playing larger entry 50-50s. Instead of going and playing 1 and 3 and 5, maybe now you can start playing 10 and 20, and that's how you're going to build your bankroll. It's not going to happen overnight, but all it really takes is a couple of cashes for you to hit and take a $50 bankroll to 250, and now you're on your way. But you got to be playing the right contests in order for you to do it. And it's not going to happen in the 10,000 man fields or plus. You're going to have to stick with those smaller fields, earn some of those cashes, and build your bankroll. That's the best advice I can give you. It's been proven time and time again. And it's really something I think is invaluable. And I'm probably going to say it more than once because I'm just going to, treat it as if this first time that you're watching. And I think it's extremely important. You can have the best lineup in the world every day, but if you're not playing in the right contest, then you're not going to maximize your bankroll and your ability to win and have success in daily fantasy sports. So that's my take on the day for that. We talk about this slate today, and I think what you can do is, I've talked about it before with small slates, early only or split slates, especially on DraftKings, because you can utilize late swap. But what we can do today is I'm going to talk about a couple of qualifiers that they have that are for the all day. So what you can do is there's a $5 15-man, and there's 2 tickets available, 2 seats. And it's for the $500,000 Slugfest, which is a $33 entry that they ran last Tuesday. So if you want to jump into a nice tournament with a big payoff, this is the way to do it. So you get a small field. It's only 15 guys. So basically you got to come in first or second to win the seat, which is worth $33. So you're paying $5 to try to win 33, but it's a really small field. But it allows you to potentially, get into that bigger tournament that you may not have bought into anyway. So what you can do today is, because it's a small slate, a lot of times there's going to be number one, there's going to be potential overlay. There's not going to be a ton in a 15-man contest, but you know what? If it only fills, say, 12, 13, 14, well, your odds of winning now increase. And so that's better bankroll management for you. So we talk about contest selection being important. That's where this comes into play. The other qualifier that they have today is a 12-man with 2 tickets available for first and second. And it's for the $1 million mega payoff pitch, which is coming down the line. So these are opportunities for you. Again, let's say, for example, you basically have a 1 in 6 shot at getting a seat in that qualifier, but let's say it only gets to 10. Well, now you have a 1 in 5, so your odds are tremendously increased. And 1 out of 5 to do, it's not that hard at all. You'd be surprised. There's going to be weaker competition potentially in these games today, because a lot of the bigger name guys are just not going to play. It's not optimal for them and what they're trying to do. So again, we talk about this. Take advantage of potential overlay and weaker competition in small slate days for daily fantasy baseball. And I'm recommending that you do this on DraftKings. I would also recommend that you can potentially do it on Fantasy Aces. However, they don't have late swap, so you do have to be careful with that. But I think I'm really talking about DraftKings here, because you have the potential of the late swap and covering yourself till lineups come out. The one thing I will say about that, though, is do not just play in the qualifier. Back each entry up with a 50-50 contest. And what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. You play in the $5, you play in both $5 qualifiers today. So you're into it for $10. Either play a $10 50-50 or play 2 $5 50-50s and back those up. I typically would tell you to play the 2 5s, because and here's why. There's going to be different people in each contest. So if you're really close, let's say it's 100-man 50-50. Well, there might be and this can happen, is let's say it pays out 50 out of the top 50 win. Well, maybe the threshold for winning for a score is going to be 100 in one of the contests, but maybe it ends up being 90 in another. What if you land on 95? You're going to cash in one and you're not going to cash in the other. What that means, though, is that you're still ahead of the game, because you've at least broken even on that instead of losing your money, or you've been able to get ahead. So, what you can do there is try to hedge, play in different, maybe play in like $1, $3, and $5 50-50s. you might win on some and you might lose on the other. Typically, though, if you win on 50-50, you're going to win either. It's typically going to be all or none, but you never know. Sometimes if you're really close to that cut line, there's an opportunity that you may cash in some and not cash in others. So as a new play, I'd recommend to diversify as much as you can. Maybe hit 5 $1 50-50s, a couple of 3s, and a couple of 5s, and then hit a couple of the qualifiers today. And if you get lucky and you happen to hit a couple of seats, chances are you're going to cash in your 50-50s as well, and it's going to be a positive day for you. So those are some tips that I have for today. Again, no picks really because of the short slate. And I think that this gives us an opportunity to really get into some of those things that we talk about here on Roto Curve, where we're trying to give you the best tools and the best information possible. We're not just giving you lineups. We're not just giving you picks. We're looking to get your learning curve to the point where you can produce winning lineups on a daily basis. This is Rath signing off for today. And as we always say here at Roto Curve, stay classy, DFS.